Are you ready to make a genuine, intentional change? Welcome to the Magic is Messy podcast. Sisters and misters, witches and wizards, boys, girls, diamonds and pearls, welcome back. Welcome back to the Magic is Messy podcast. Cheers. Dig it. We're back here with Ace, our super rad co-host. It is good morning. Cheers, chink, 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 clink, clink, clink.
That's
to our
now we begun the ritual.
super fly coffee beverages.
Kenny G makes coffee beverages that'll make you a better person.
Oh, did you know I used to be a barista?
You did?
I did. I was a great barista, producing to myself.
Yeah.
Yep, and I remember one of my favorite things to do was hand out, I opened the very first Caribou Coffee drive-through in the state of Minnesota.
You did?
I did. And I used to hand the coffee out to the customer in the drive-through and be like, be careful, this is really, really good. And they'd be like, oh.
I thought you were going to say hi.
Exactly, see?
Okay, but here's my question, because my husband used to work for Caribou too in the drive-through.
Yeah.
Are your hands permanently frostbit?
No, thankfully.
Okay, how did you repair?
I had big, huge gloves in between.
Just like mittens.
Yeah, exactly. Like choppers. Yeah, get to the chopper. I had choppers. It was great. It was awesome. Yep. So, yes, but either way, we are here and we are going to rock and roll into an episode called
Shadow Work.
What the fuck is shadow work?
I have been so looking forward to this episode.
Have you?
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
I like to get dirty. I like to roll in the mud.
Magic is meant to be messy, baby.
Yeah, let's
roll
do
in the
it.
mud.
Let's
See,
get
we're
messy.
making mud.
Yeah.
The water in the earth is making mud. Son of a bee sting. Now, let's just dive literally right into it. We're still in, as this episode is being recorded, we are heading into the new moon of Scorpio. We just got out of the full moon in Taurus. We are currently simmering in the fixed water of Scorpio season. So things might be kind of coming up to the surface, or the shadows might be, waiting to dance. So if they say dance with the devil, or work on my inner demons, or slay the dragon, or there's so many different ways to say working with your shadow self. It is a piece of you. And I personally think that the shadow side gets a bad reputation. And the reason for that is because it's looked at as a negative aspect of you, or looked at as the dark side,
or like a problem.
A problem, yes. It's looked at as something that you have to deal with,
like a flaw.
Not that you get to dance with, get to connect with, and negotiate, or just find understanding and compassion for.
Oh my God, I love that. Before we get started, can I ask the biggest question that I wanted to ask about this?
Oh my goodness gracious!
How does the
no
moon,
pressure?
I wanted to ask, how does the moon placement enhance or affect our shadow work? Like, why are some months better than others for shadow work? Can you explain more of why some zodiacs, like you talked about Scorpio, you talked about Taurus, and you talk about all these things of digging into shadow work and how this is a great month to do that. Are there months that are absolutely avoid shadow work today? No, I'm just kidding, of course. You always are working through stuff. But I'm just saying, why
You nailed it. So shadow work is a constant cyclical process.
Yes.
It is a practice, it is a process, and it is the never-ending story. Sing it, girl, sing it. And that's what I really like to come to shadow work with, is letting everyone know this is not a linear, one way, one size fits all type of a practice.
Yeah.
Not even close at all. What it is a circle, it is a cycle, it is a thing that repeats itself. And usually when Scorpio comes up, the water signs are very good ones to look at your shadow, because you might be more emotional or apt to looking at your emotions. The fixed water and Scorpio being kind of like a darkness or the death and rebirth. It is a great space to look at those depths.
Okay.
Because that is truly what the shadow is.
Yep.
The shadow is the opposite, and like we have the opposition in the zodiac, right? Like we just got out of the full moon in Taurus, which is the comfortable space of letting go, the luxury of letting go, or the comfortable space to work on the uncomfort.
So if, in essence,
of
you're
your
creating
shadow.
a safe space to land
Yeah.
as you start going into the next season, which is going to be a doozy.
Yeah, kind of like the when you dip down into the fixed waters, kind of like the anchor to hold on to.
Yeah.
That's why the Taurus
It's fixed,
axis.
and then Scorpio is mutable.
Scorpio is also fixed.
Oh, it is?
They're both fixed. Fixed earth and fixed water.
Oh, fixed earth and fixed water. Okay.
Right? Which, when you're working with fixed water, that is the deep. That is the deep. Not necessarily dark, but just it's the deep. That's what I mean by dark. And when
I have a story to share about that when it's time.
Sure, of course. Please do. Yeah. Share all the stories.
Okay.
We're going to have so many stories today,
many
listeners.
stories.
So many stories. I like story.
For story I just have to say, I have been working on shadow work for 10 plus 15 years, I would say. And I have to tell you, it has been the most valuable thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I am a wife, I am a mother, I'm a business owner, I'm the lead singer of a band. And shadow work has been, by far, the most valuable thing I've ever done in my life.
And cheers to you for A, admitting it.
Thank you.
B, being excited about it. Like you just kind of ramped up the vibe there for a moment.
Yeah.
Because I think because okay. Because shadow gets a bad reputation, like Joan Jett.
Yeah.
All the time.
I don't give a damn.
Exactly. And that's exactly the vibration of what the shadow side is. Yeah. Like, don't say what I wanna be. Do what I wanna do.
Oh my God,
it's like the angsty. No shit. It's like the angsty teenager or the ignored inner child, or it's the repressed, suppressed, misunderstood, misaligned, misrepresented misfit of our personalities.
Yes.
And I did not say that it is separate from you, because booby dooby doo, it is you.
It drives literally every fucking thing you do.
It drives every fucking thing you do.
Every fucking thing. And we're about to tear it up today.
And wouldn't it be nice wouldn't it be nice to be in the driver's seat?
Hell yeah.
Of everything that you do
Hell yeah.
in your life? Because that's the thing, is the ego and the shadow are opposition. They are equal to one another, and you need both of them in order to become whole.
Yep.
In order to survive. Like if there was just ego and no shadow, it would be like a black hole and you would just go and you would disappear.
Yes.
Right? But at the same time, the shadow never disappears. And that's, I think, something that when I was first working on it, like shine the light on it and it disappears. It never disappears. It just integrates and becomes a different part of your personality.
Right. Much like in like, if you will, like a mental disorder or a health disorder, it's not like I'm going to cure autism, I'm going to cure anxiety, I'm going to cure depression. I live with depression, I live with anxiety, I live with autism. It's those kinds of things where we learn to manage, negotiate, push, pull, love.
Yep.
Those kinds of things about
it. And I love that you said the push-pull, because that is what the shadow and the ego are doing, is they are pushing and pulling. Yep. And the ego's job is to keep our shadow hidden.
Yes.
Because the ego doesn't want to feel rejected, doesn't want to feel fear, doesn't want to feel, embarrassed, doesn't want to feel rejected, doesn't want to feel...
The ego's job is to protect
uncomfortable, 1,000%. So... The shadow side of ourselves, of our personality, comes from being hurt, from being wounded,
traumatized.
Trauma and triggers are such a big part of the shadow's identity.
And I think that those words, trauma, trigger, are so prevalent.
They're buzzy.
They're so prevalent right now in the kind of lingo that's happening right now that you see on social media, and like with people saying, oh my gosh, you've triggered my traumas, or I'm traumatized by this. And I think really it's important to break down, what does that actually mean?
Hell yeah. Like, you don't just get to say that and then someone has to be like, oh, I retract everything and I'm no longer going to act that. Like, why?
Yeah.
Because I think that's such an overarching, it's used so often. You've re-triggered me.
Yeah.
Why though? Yep. What is that trigger coming from? What trauma is that trigger making happen?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Is it? Instead of walking around and wearing them like badges.
Bingo.
It's about, okay, what's happening? I remember I one of the things that I see a lot on TikTok and the makeup influencers that I like to follow is like, oh my God, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this lip gloss. I'm obsessed. And I want to be like, but do you know what obsession really is? It's not fun. Obsession is like dark.
An addiction. Yeah.
So obsessed, it sounds like a cute buzzword and a good reason to sell lip gloss, but like, it's not cute. It's not funny.
Sure. Sure.
But at the same time, I understand why we would say obsessed, is because that's our energetic, over dramatic way of saying, I really love this thing.
I really dig it.
Yeah.
Like, super digs.
But in reality, it's an overused word that has now taken, if you will, the meaning and power out of what it really is.
1000%. Yes. So the meaning of trigger and trauma now don't have the power they once had.
Right.
Because people are utilizing them as a scapegoat or like a glorified.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, so it's almost like negate, like you said, it's kind of normalizing,
negating the power it actually does have when you
Correct.
work on it in this type of medium.
Yeah, love it.
If you will.
It's the truth. We are doing our best here to bring forth the truth about what we know about shadow work and try to, again, pull it out of that buzzy mainstream social media arena and bring this down back into the truth.
Back into the foundation. And utilizing curiosity and compassion equally.
Yes, and self-love.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's
dig.
So dig we shall.
Dig
Let's
it.
dig it.
Dig it?
Dig it. Everyone's like, you say dig it too much. And I was like,
I
really?
love that
dig
you
it.
say dig it.
Okay, so I kind of just want to let listeners know that as much as we want to get into the shadow, we also want to create a structure around what we're going to be sharing today, just so we don't go off the crazy rails and tangents, because we are going to be starting some challenges, off social media challenges for people that want to dig deeper into the shadow, doing some path working practices, doing some active imagination, amazingness, doing some things where we can bring community and curiosity and compassion together and utilize our reflections to bring us to a new directions, if you will. So what I'd really like to dive into today with the fixed waters of Scorpio are what exactly is your shadow, or how can you kind of zoom back, if you will, and realize that these are pieces of yourself, kind of broken pieces of the facet. We are all diamonds. We have so many facets, but this is the dark side of the moon facet that we don't usually look at because it's not exactly glamorous. GLAM. Oh, yeah, glamorous.
I have to tell you, I know how to spell that. I'll never forget how to spell that.
It's glamorous life she does. I like that glamorous song much better, the Sheila E. version. Either way, it's not as glamorous as maybe we want it to be, because it is the shame that we feel, it is the guilt that we feel, it is the disgust that we feel. Like I said earlier, it could be your ignored inner child. It could be your angsty ass teenager that's just screaming to get out. It could be something that came from an embarrassing moment. Like you've lived this rejection, you've lived this fear, you've lived this embarrassment, and your shadow avoids pain and rejection at all costs and has felt this feel before and will do anything in its fucking power
Thing and everything
to not feel that way ever again.
I love
Right?
how you can lapse into music that fast.
And that's...
I wish I had that gift. You're already
Keep hanging out with me, girl. Dig it. All right.
Dig it.
So on the record, what your shadow is probably someone who feels wronged, someone who feels undesirable, unacceptable, maybe societally frowned upon, or someone that also feels like their desires and the things that they get pleasure from are also... They feel bad for having those pleasures and desires. Some people would see it as a kink, right? Like, what be your kink?
Oh, are you talking about how shadows can also be your kinks?
1000%.
Okay, I heard that. I heard that some of our unresolved trauma, our unresolved things, can do the flip side can be, if you will, a sexual kink.
Absolutely. Or just a kink in general.
A general kink.
Something that turns you on. Not necessarily sexual. Could be sensually, could be emotionally, could be spiritually. What turns you on that other people might look at and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, girl? Boo. And also there is a book called Existential Kink.
Ooh.
That I started digging into and found a lot of those. So if you want to read that, I can either way, just search Existential Kink. It is a phenomenal book.
Okay.
But yes, and when I bring up the kinky side, everyone says the dark side or the bad side of you. What I'm trying to say is, like, in the tarot, we're going to bring it back to the tarot, because the devil card. When the devil card comes up, that to me stands for instant gratification, earthly pleasure, and allowing yourself to choose instant gratification and pleasure over long-term success. Like, these are the chains. This is the things that keep us wrapped up in our bullshit.
So like the flip side of that being like self-care and what have you,
Mm-hmm.
but the devil might then turn it into obsession or addiction or spending too much money,
Depression,
on wine, or
anxiety, all of these
Okay,
things.
gotcha.
And that's what I'm trying to say is this is what the shadow it comes from, is that piece of you that feels undesirable, that piece of you that feels actively ignored or set aside, vulnerable, authentic, the piece of you that feels disowned, the piece of you that feels traumatized. From a lot of times it comes from childhood, or it can even come from the womb. It could be something that's not even yours, boo.
So I've been seeing a sound healer now for a while, and she will be like, okay, excuse me. So she'll say, you're dealing with the shadows of your ancestors. I'm like, bitch, why are there ancestors in my fucking shadows, man? Like, but it's like some of us have been tapped by our ancestors to break
be the one who
down
breaks it.
the generational cycles. That's another buzz thing I'm seeing, breaking down generational cycles. I personally have done that work.
Same.
It is not fucking easy.
Eldest daughter shit is no joke.
No, it's not.
T Swift was right
She
on the
was
button.
Right on.
Yeah.
We need to make another playlist. Do it.
Yeah, do it. Eldest daughter playlist, trauma trigger playlist.
Yes.
Realigning your synapses playlist, that kind of stuff. So back to it. I think one thing that is not maybe explained and that hit me really hard, hit me almost like the two, yeah, exactly. The two pieces came together and molded, and it was like this big, huge cosmic shift for me, because shift happens.
Yep, shift does.
And when I realized that the ego and the shadow are emotional equals, they are equals in everything. And you can't have one without the other, the yin and the yang, so to speak, the light and the dark, the black and the white. Mm-hmm. When I realized that your shadow defines who and what you truly are, and everything we go through in our lives becomes our trauma, and everything we go through in our lives can either go into the funnel of shadow or ego.
Yep.
And they need both of each other, they need each other to survive. And when you look at your traumas, it is a fingerprint. Like your trauma, everything that you've gone through in your entire life is your fingerprint of what your shadow is. So that's why I feel like when people are like, "Oh, do this program for your shadow," that's amazing that you're getting anywhere to even start from. Yeah. But what I needed to realize, and what I'd love for other people to know, is there is not a one size fits all. A step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, all 7, and we'll watch them fall.
And there's like your own program that you're
reprogramming.
Yeah, that your ego and your shadow self is willing to participate in, because that's the other piece of it. Is you have to be able to find a modality that your ego and your shadow is going to go, all right, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Because if you're like,
I'm feeling this.
Yeah. If you tell yourself, listen, we're going to work out, like I have the workout plan that's going to help you work through your shadows. Great. Bomb. Not me. I'm an indoor kitty. I'm telling you what.
Meow.
I would prefer to find my way through, path working, breath work, reading, cozy. If it's on a couch or a blanket, I'm into it. You know what I'm saying? But some people are like, I need to go out and conquer mountains in order to deal with my demons. Bomb. But that's why I think it's so important to use whatever modalities that your ego and your shadow will participate.
Right. Yeah. And you get to dooby-doob it any way that you want to work through it.
That's right.
And that is the most beautiful thing about shadow work, is it is not a linear construct.
No, and nor do I truly believe that work is ever done. I think
it's definitely not.
That's main. I think there's going to be some main humps that you're going to go through. There's going to be some main, like, okay, I got to tear this whole situation
tower
down.
moment.
Yeah, major tower moment. But then there's also little moments, little blips on the radar where you're like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, a Nerf gun, if you so to speak.
Well, and I love to hear that, because, like you said, shadows are coming up. They literally have something to do with every action and reaction in your life. It is like this record running in the background. And imagine if you were listening to a jazz record for your whole fucking life. Right? And there's so many notes, and it's so confusing. And where are you going with this cadence? And what is this melody even doing? Like, you're listening to a jazz record your whole life, and then all of a sudden you listen to that jazz record for exactly what it is, and you're like, I don't really dig jazz.
Okay.
And you
Yep.
and you take the needle off the record, and you decide to listen to
Metal.
Sure. I don't give a damn about my bad reputation.
Or Freddie Mercury. Or
Whatever.
Prince, or
Whatevs. You're changing the record.
Yes.
And then you decide to listen to that record instead. But it's always easy to go back to jazz because that's what you know. It's what you've known for your whole motherfucking life.
Yep.
So jazz is always going to feel comfortable even if it is uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that's your comfort zone is the jazz. Are we understanding that?
Yeah.
Visual?
Yeah. I also wanted to bring about, and again, I know you've got a lot of plans.
No, girl, let's go. That's with the flow.
Go
with the flow.
There's scribbles, there's circles, there's underlines.
This is my Gemini coming out, my rising Gemini.
Okay, which I appreciate so
Yeah.
much because as you can see, I'm more of a homeschool here. We're comparing notebooks. I have nothing.
We are the
everything.
opposition.
Yes, exactly. But I have to tell you, like, one of my most important and was the first step I had to do in some of my shadow work was I actually had shadows around feeling joy.
Oh, MF.
Okay, so to be in a situation where I'm experiencing joy and I went into panic mode is so fucking confusing.
Wow.
Yeah. So my shadow was around feeling too much, too big of feelings. Okay.
Oh, hello, human.
Yeah, hello.
I got
human,
you.
And also
Same
the
shadow.
Majority of the world. Yeah. And so to feel all these big feelings and to have this and to be critical. So I remember I went in particular to go see a movie. Okay. And okay, I'll just tell you what it is. It was Bohemian Rhapsody. Everybody who knows me already knows.
Got you.
So I went and saw Bohemian Rhapsody film, which came out a few years ago. And I went to go see it. And the very last, for those of you who have heard it, the very last part of the movie, there's like the Live Aid sequence where they've recreated Live Aid with Queen. Okay, and Rami Malek plays Freddie Mercury. He does a bang up job. And I remember watching the end of the film and sitting there watching him go through, because some people would say that part was one of the best rock performances of all time, that moment. So if anybody hasn't seen the original Live Aid 1985 with Queen, they literally stole Live Aid.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, even though it was a charity event, and let's be honest, that's what was important.
Doesn't matter.
You go back and you look and you see that.
I mean, it does, but yes.
So the film has now recreated this moment. So now the actors are going through the motion of what Queen would have gone through in 1985. Okay. So I remember watching these actors going through it and the way they filmed it and everything, and something inside of me bubbled up, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I started to panic. So I went back to my therapist and I said, I don't know what happened. I was like sobbing in the theater. I don't know what's going on. And she said, okay, one of the things that I like to do is if you're feeling this feeling, what's the flip side of that, right? So she's like, what came up for you? What was the feeling underneath your panic attack? And I said, actually, it was joy. And she was like, oh, well, I mean, we don't want to do the flip side of that. But then she's like, wow, you have a shadow around joy.
Yeah.
So to feel joy made me feel panic. And that was so bizarre.
Feeling joy was actually painful.
It was.
Yeah.
And I had to allow myself to feel joy. So for my entire year that year, and I found that actually that resonated with my 13-year-old self.
Good for you.
So I allowed my 13-year-old self, if you will, to quote, dress me, to pick out my music, to pick out my life, to pick out everything. I let my 13-year-old drive the bus, within reason, of course.
Of course.
For a year, okay? So I let her listen to Queen for a year. That's all she wanted to do. I said, do you want to listen to can we listen to something out there? She's like, nope, Queen. I'm like,
Okay, sure.
And she needed to listen to it, and I needed to listen to her.
Well, and what you literally just explained is such a great way of integrating your shadow. You found a shadow, which was, I feel pain when I feel joy. Joy and pain.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Sunshine and rain.
Keep it
Give
going,
me raw. So you were feeling pain as you were feeling joy, and it was such this push-pull, like we've already talked about. So you made the decision to, in essence, you said my 13-year-old. Like you saw your 13-year-old energy as something separate from yourself for a moment, but you gave that shadow an image. You gave it a persona. And you listened to it and conversated with it and spoke to it and showed it compassion and showed it understanding and showed it acceptance and showed it that you being big is totally motherfucking okay.
I reparented myself.
Bingo. And I think all of us need that. I remember my reparenting shadow moment, and it was like,
yes.
And now that little kitty that got hit by a car on her 7th birthday on her brand new car, or I'm sorry, she got hit by a car on her brand new bike on her 7th birthday.
What?
Yes, this is little kitty. This is a little kitty, 7 years old, hit by a car.
You were hit by a car?
1,000%. On my brand new bike. I just got it for my birthday. Big, huge scar. So, of course, right in my eyebrow. I only have half of an eyebrow. So I literally have looked at my eyebrows like they are asymmetrical for my whole life. And it has been a shadow surrounding my looks and my face. And it is just, it goes deep down into the motherfucking depths. For real.
Can I just say, as a mom right now, I just was like, no.
But it's the reparent of literally holding that little girl, looking her in the face, and being right there with your inner child. And
so
allowing them to feel held.
You're so beautiful.
Right.
And
ain't nobody paying attention to your eyebrow, girl. I got you. I'm gonna kiss that away. Like really just ugly crying all the way through it.
Shadow work is ugly.
And as painful as it felt in the moment, man, could I breathe, and I slept better, and I showed up in life better, and I showed up for myself better. Mo better. Because that is exactly what it can create. Once I integrated that little girl, and like you said, you started letting her drive the bus, because you were driving the bus of your shadow self for that moment.
Yep. I let that 13-year-old drive the bus until she's like, what if we flew to London? I'm like, okay, so we're not going to fly to London.
Yeah.
We don't have the money for that.
Whoa. I like where your head's at, though. Let's fly to King's Cross and play with, like whatever.
Exactly. Let's go. Exactly. But I love that we can go back and we can redo what we need to do to heal that piece of ourselves that in essence embodies the shadow. And one of the things that I was going to add this on when we get to this part, but are we ready to move on to how do we know?
In just a moment.
Okay.
Yes. How do we know is coming up.
Okay.
Yet I just want to bring us to this place of understanding that when you begin to integrate and work along with your shadow as not just an extension of yourself, but a piece of who you are, right? That's when our fear of authenticity and our fear of rejection and things kind of melt away in a sense. And think about the energy it takes to suppress your shadow. Right, I want you to think about if you have a bunch of skeletons playing in your closet, we'll just say that visual, and you are trying your best to keep that door shut, and they are just knocking it down. Like, come on, let's play. I don't give a damn about bad reputation.
Like a bony hand reaching around the door.
I mean, think about that R.L. Stein visual, right? You know what I'm trying to say? Goosebumps, girl. Goosebumps. But think about how much energy it takes to shove them back. Or think about a big beach ball or an inflatable ball. Think about how it feels to hold that under the surface of the water when all it wants to do is just bubble up and pop up.
And think about what kinds of things you might need, tools, if you will, that you might need to do that. For example, drugs, alcohol, shopping, sex.
All of them. The devil, if you will, the addiction.
That we find ourselves falling into in order to keep that beach ball under the water.
1000%. And that's where the habits and the patterns and the self-sabotage and we'll get into what does it show up as.
Yes.
But think about all of the energy you're utilizing to either keep that door of shadows shut or keep that ball underneath the water or whatever it may be, and think about what it would feel like to put energy into now not having to do that, and the release it will feel like to just let it go. Let it go.
And I will say that that release is so sweet.
Oh God, it's like an orgasm.
It super is. Emotional, energy, ego orgasm.
Yeah, an ego orgasm. That's a really good way to put it, because, and back to that, the ego and the shadow feed off one another, and the ego's number one job is to keep you safe and to keep you protected. But what I do know about the shadow is that projection equals protection.
Say it again.
Projection equals protection.
Okay.
Because projection is the mechanism that the shadow uses to keep itself hidden. Right? I want you to think about the person or the energy behind the spotlight. No one looks behind the spotlight. They're looking at what the spotlight is shining on.
That's right.
So when you, and like you said, this spotlight or this projection, this mirror, I want you to think about wearing a certain trauma or whatever happened to you in your childhood becomes the glasses that you see the world through, and you project this belief or habit or whatever it may be through those glasses onto every single situation, move, emotion in your entire motherfucking life.
So in essence, the little girl that got hit by a car is going to have little girl that got hit by her car glasses on.
Bingo.
She looks at this situation.
Because no one was watching me, no one was paying attention to me, no one cared enough to know where I was. So I got hit by a car. Oof. And, you know, of course, as a 7-year-old, you make up. What did I do wrong? Why wasn't there anyone there to help me?
Yeah, I was neglected. I was vulnerable.
Whatever. Yeah, ooh. I was abandoned. Ooh. Oh, the abandoned little girl shadow. Oh, wow, that was a big motherfucker. So, anyway, but projection in the mirror. Like, have you ever? And we're getting into how do you know that the shadow is showing up. We've already gone through what is the shadow or where can it come from. This is how the shadow shows up in your life. And have you ever been speaking to someone or you're with your kids or you're with your husband and something they're doing is absolutely pissing you off so much? Yes. Or you are judging, you are criticizing them. You're like, oh God, you're almost disgusted with them because there's something about you that holds that exact same vibration that you are embarrassed about, you feel guilty about, you are ashamed of, or you are afraid that if you brought that part of yourself forward and were authentic, that you also have that you would be cast away, set aside, rejected. Yeah. That is literally the action and reaction loop of the shadow and how it comes forward. And like you said, and when you are able to see other people as this mirror image and you're able to, that's a really good place to start. A very good place to start of where to define what your shadow actually is to go through life for maybe a week and look at where are the places or who are the people or what are the situations that just fucking get my goat. Yeah. That piss me off.
And usually it and what to me, another indicator of that, if as you're looking through these things, you'll find yourself doing something that's a little out of character for you.
Oh, very much so.
For example, the there have been times where I've had moments or little shadows that pop up, and I find myself wanting to, in my head, go, I know you are, but what am I?
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh, shit, okay, so when was the last time I said that? You were 12 when you said that last time.
Sure.
Or you were 8 or whatever. That is the person you're dealing with. That's an indicator of the voice you're dealing with.
Absolutely. Because then you act and react from a place that is not you. Have you ever heard someone say, I don't even know who that person was that was saying that, or I blacked out.
Yes.
Or it's like irrational action.
Yep.
That when you're in the middle of it, you know damn well that it is not how you want to be acting in that situation.
You don't want to show up. You can't believe that thing came out of your mouth.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, what happened? And I'm going to say that every time a big, deep shadow comes up for me, it feels like I don't have any, like, I don't know if this is how your brain works, but sometimes I'm faced with a situation and my brain does like a little side bubble and it's like, doesn't have enough information for this subject, or right? Like doesn't understand how to process.
Cannot compute.
Doesn't no further information, almost like a computer screen or something. But what I find is interesting, if you are in a situation and you find yourself going, the brain is like, ... like you can't.
Very much.
That is another indicator that your brain is like, that's the ego coming in to protect.
Yeah, well, because also if you look at it like that synapse, like you said, I'm in the middle of doing something and my brain goes, short. I short it out. Yep. My short circuit.
A glitch.
That's a glitch, 1,000%. And that glitch is a push-pull point of a trauma or a trigger that when the electricity reaches that synapse, it misfires and you act or react in the only way you know how to do it, which is to be judgmental or envious or want to get revenge or slide into anxiety or slide into depression, or you feel low self-esteem or low self-worth or inadequate or imposter. Vulnerable. You feel jealousy. You feel all of those ugly motherfucking feelings.
That feel almost immature sometimes.
Very much so.
Yep.
Because these are the intense emotions that come up when your shadow is being triggered by trauma that broke the synapse. And now what we're doing when you integrate shadow is to repair that synapse with reflection. And you are with intention reprogramming the way your brain space fires. And that is hard work. And also it is the most rewarding motherfucking work that we can do for ourselves, because this is not going to come from anywhere else. It's not going to come from a program. It's not you paying money for a $3,000 program and all of a sudden you pay that $3,000 and you are fixed, bitch. You fixed. That is not at all it.
This is going through the fire.
Absolutely. Through the fire.
And coming out on the other side in whatever
Yes.
state you come out.
Yeah.
So
In whatever state you come out, but it is going to be someone who has gone through the fire, which, like a phoenix, is rebirthed out of the ash. And that's where the death rebirth of Scorpio, like, so going back to why is Scorpio, or are there certain moon phases or moon, cycles that are better to work with shadow? Yes and no.
yes.
No, because you work through shadow. Whenever it comes up, baby girl, you work through it. Boo, work through it, because that is you showing up for you.
That's right.
And if you are looking for a jumping point or a space to be like, well, I guess this is it. Always in Scorpio season, you are being given a nice little comfy space, a luxurious space to let go and release.
So the moon is holding you.
The opposition of Taurus and Scorpio is holding space for you to
fall.
comfortably deal with your uncomfort.
I love
And
that.
fall into a nest of fuzzy pillows.
And maybe some chocolate cake.
And maybe chocolate cake, because Taurus, bish, Taurus.
That's what I'm saying. So now that is so wonderful. And thank you, moon. Thank you. Thank you, nature, for creating that soft space for us to
Thank you,
land.
cyclic nature, as we plug into our cycles, giving us this cycle to plug into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although some of us end up in shadow work, not in Scorpio season.
Oh, and you know what? If it's not feeling right, then don't do it. Like, your practice is your practice, and that's what I'm trying to say.
But what I'm saying is, like, I find myself working through shadow work probably in other zodiac signs where they're like, definitely avoid shadow work this month, And I'm like, because sometimes your ego's like, we're gonna deal with this.
Of course. And don't suppress it, because
Right.
that's just going to make it bubble up and blow up even more.
Right.
Like, the more shadows you keep in that closet that are trying to get out.
Yeah.
And that's why I say this shadow work is medicine. And you want to take medicine by the spoonful. The spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yes.
Right? Mary, pop in those bubbles, if you will. Because
popping up in here.
let's get it popping. But when you are working at a spoonful rate, you are avoiding the bucket, the fuck it bucket, which a lot of people don't want to kick over the fuck it bucket. No. If you have been ignoring trauma, if you've been ignoring, bad things that happen in your past, the more you ignore them, the more they bubble up, and the more you become uncontrollable with your emotions in your life. For example, when you are triggered, it comes out as extreme upset. It comes up as emotional overwhelm. It comes out as flashbacks, or it comes out as a way that greatly affects your mental state, potentially negatively in that moment.
Right.
And your shadow reveals itself in moments of extreme stress, or moments of, like I said, intoxication or addiction. It comes out in your dreams. It comes out in embarrassing moments. Your triggers and your shadow come out when you feel like you can't control your emotional state.
Yes. One thing I will say that standing behind the salon chair for 26 years, I have learned, I find myself personally getting tense around the holidays.
Oh, okay.
So we're coming into the holiday season now. We've got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and all
Yule.
of the other love, Yule, yes, all of those things. So my clients will come into my chair and they'll be like, well, we're going to go visit grandma, for Thanksgiving, but she's not usually very nice to us. So we're just going to go. And I'm like,
obligation.
Yep. So
little child is like, fuck.
Yeah, but so I think, like, interactions with family members, this is that time. But I have to tell you, almost every person comes in and they are literally wearing their stress on their body
sure.
because of what they're about to walk into, or what they're going to do, or what
their triggers ready
happened.
to trip.
Oh man, and I go home wearing everybody's triggered like a goddamn Christmas tree.
Oh no,
you know what I'm saying? Just like ornaments hanging off the sweater.
No.
So that
we got to do some protection spells for you, girl.
I need a protection whole full armor.
You need a lead vest.
I do. And so, but I'm noticing that even that kind of stuff will inspire, things like the holidays and things like, the New Year, all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Inspires that in that trigger. So my clients come in triggered, happens every single year, and every year I find myself as a service provider taking on their emotions. That's part of my shadow work. And going home and wearing, Sally's Aunt Kathy's, loss or whatever.
Sure.
Whatever.
But that projection of their trauma onto you, or their shadow onto you, you hold on to that as an empath, as a very
Which
strong
is not my
Pisces.
client's fault.
No, not at all.
They come in and they want to process their stuff, and I love holding space.
Because
for them
as a
to do
service
that.
provider, that's exactly what you're doing, is holding space.
Yep, and I get to learn how to allow people to take their traumas with them when they leave, instead of going, here, I'll hold that for you. I'll carry that for you through the holiday season.
Absolutely.
And then find myself sick on Christmas morning.
Here's a good idea. I have an idea.
Yeah, tell me.
And I just came up with this. When people are in your chair, give them have them choose a stone. Just get some little tourmalines or little stones, whatever. Have them hold on to it, so all of that energy is being sucked into that stone. Yes. And then have them take that stone with them as they leave, with the intention of it not connecting with you.
And then that can be also their Christmas gift too. Like,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to send this home.
I'm giving you a talisman or an energetic emblem, if you will, to work on your shadows, to allow yourself to speak your shadows, to integrate your shadows, and also not allowing your shadows to project and or stick onto me.
To be honest with you, I wear a tourmaline on my wrist every day.
Oh, hells yes.
And I also have a tower of it on my station.
Okay.
So hopefully it just all goes into that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you, girl. But also, you are being able to reflect and utilize their triggers, their shadows, their trauma, whatever word that buzzes for you.
Yeah.
You are allowing yourself to see maybe yourself as a reflection of what they're going through.
Right.
So utilizing it not as something that is suppressing you by taking on that energy for them, but allowing yourself to grow through it and say, oh, I can see how I might be doing that, or I'm wearing those glasses as well, or I act or react. I am stuck in loops of self-sabotage, or I have habits and patterns and toxic behaviors because of this, because that's how it comes out.
Yes. And I'm so grateful for my clients for that, because I do get a lot of reflections.
For sure.
In front of the mirror. I literally stand in front of a mirror, so I get a lot of reflection from my clients, which I'm grateful for. Another reason that you might find yourself in shadow is you might be avoiding people.
Oh, avoiding huge.
Like, if you find yourself like, oh, I just don't ever want to go out anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I find myself doing that from time to time.
Okay.
I'm like,
And what shadow is that comes up for you? Do you know?
Ooh, girl. That means I have to think.
I mean, no pressure. I just threw that. I literally was like, hey, out there in left field.
Yeah, but I find myself wanting to avoid people, and maybe I'm avoiding the reflection.
That could be it.
You know? There might
You're
be
avoiding dealing with your shit, your self-hating inner talk.
That's right. Because if I avoid people, and again, sometimes you have to avoid people so you can gather your laurels, if you will.
Of course.
And heal up and get some energy and drink some fucking chicken broth and get out there and do what you need to do to handle your shit. Mm-hmm. But all I'm saying is, like, a trigger, like, if you find yourself, why am I avoiding everybody all of a sudden? That could be why.
Well, and I love that you brought that up, because avoidance, like active avoidance, procrastination, coming from a place of self-pity, or blaming others for everything.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That I have to share a little bit of story about that. I have in my studio space at work, I get to design it. I get to put wallpaper and pick my color and everything, blah, blah. So when I finished designing my space, there was one part of the wall that I wanted to finish, and I kept putting it off and kept putting it off and kept putting it off. And after a year of having like the blue painter's tape up with, I'm going to do this, I just didn't. And instead of saying, I gotta get that done. I gotta start working out again. I gotta quit eating this. I gotta quit doing that. I gotta finish that wall. Instead of like beating myself up about it, I found myself saying, why? Why did you not finish that wall?
Oh.
Why are you?
What's coming up?
Yeah. And instead of beating myself about it, it became a conversation of compassion.
Sure.
Why are you not doing that?
Grace.
And my brain.
Space of grace.
And my brain went, I don't actually care that much. So that's why I didn't do it.
Okay.
And so what would be
Because maybe you thought you were doing it for other people, and it didn't feel like something you were doing for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Or spending a year in my salon, I started to look around and go, okay, this is actually working, this isn't working. So that now we adjust.
Of course.
And so
recalibrate.
Yes. So I was going to spend all this energy doing this decorative thing on the wall when really I just wanted to shelf there.
Sure.
You know? And so then I asked myself, why haven't you done that? Instead of, oh, why are you...
Jesus Christ, you lazy ass, you
Why
motherfucker.
are you cooking at home more? Why are you doing the things you said you were going to do?
Sure.
It's not that. But why? Ask yourself why.
Yeah, I think instead of chastising, questioning,
being curious.
Curiosity is such a great space.
Yeah, instead of going,
of grace.
I have to get this done. It's like,
have
I'm
to,
curious.
get to.
Yeah,
And if it's not a get to type of a vibration,
It's not a fuck yes.
it's a no.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. That's another way that shadows can come out and play and show up in your life. It's having a lack of boundaries or an inability to say no.
And a lot
Or enabling.
And another indicator of lack of boundaries is burnout.
Burnout, huge.
Burnout.
Yeah, the
So-
lack of saying no.
So if you find yourself burned out in your career, burned out in your social life, burned out with whatever you're doing, burned out in your relationship, check your boundaries. How are your boundaries? Are you letting people run all over you?
Also, I think another one that no one brings up that just literally popped into my head is dig into what your love language is.
Yes.
Because if you're not being given that love language in return, that might be a shadow of I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve, or I'm not magnetizing to myself people that love me in the language that I desire to be loved. I have a grandma that just needs to be needed.
Yes.
Right? And she will overcompensate and over-enable just to feel like she is needed, even though in the ways that she's in essence needed, she bitches and complains about them all the time.
Yes.
If that makes sense. So if you are in this loop of, you feel like this loop is constantly just fucking running in the background,
Yes.
right? The jazz music is running in the background, but you bitch about the jazz music, but you're allowing the jazz music to still play. That's on you, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's, I think I know that there are so many people that are just not fine with, but they just allow the jazz because fuck, it sounds like a horrible, horrible process and job and too much work to change the fucking record.
Right. And they're not wrong.
No.
And it is a lot of work.
Yep.
And it is so much sweeter on the other side.
Yeah.
Because the next time the jazz music goes on, you can be like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, instead of...
You can dance with it instead of bitch at it.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's...
Jazz starts to sound a lot better.
Yeah, jazz starts to sound different. It may not sound better, but it sounds different. Because that's the thing about the projection spotlight, right? A lot of times, and in my past versions of shadow work, I'm like, oh, if you shine a spotlight on the shadow, it disappears. It never disappears. Nope. That disowned, disgusted piece of yourself never disappears. You just become more aware of it and you identify it, which then changes your action from here on out.
Right.
Because once you are aware of something, you can never ever unsee it. And you know that when you act from that place of when you weren't aware of it, you know that it is not jiving with your vibe anymore.
Right. Like, for example, when I find myself super happy, super fulfilled, super joyful.
Yeah.
And it might be something like Taylor Swift, like being in a band, like 80s music, like 90s music, like whatever, I find so much joy about this. I still, to this day, feel like, is it okay for me to like Taylor Swift that much? And it's like, but now oh, that's right. I feel negative around joyfulness. So being that it was brought up to me when I saw that film and I saw that sequence of the film and I was like, oh, panic attack. Now, when I lean into something that brings me joy, or joy in this moment, I don't have a panic attack anymore. Yay, upgrade. But I still have that moment where I'm like,
you question it, you doubt it.
But it used to be a debilitating panic attack.
It used to be a trigger, which would lead to a trauma type of reaction, trauma response. Yes, the trauma. And another thing I want to say about trauma is if you think about, right, I said your fingerprint of your shadow is your trauma. And it's almost like a chisel. Your trauma is a chisel that molds you out of a big, huge piece of clay. When you're born, you're a big, huge piece of clay. And this trauma molds you into what you actually, what triggers you. And that's the cool and crazy thing about shadow and all of this work and ego is not one person is going to be exactly the same as someone else when it comes to this work.
Right.
And being okay with that, being willing to see that and being willing to know that your traumas and your triggers are not what defines you. They are just the spotlight, turning the spotlight on those triggers and that trauma is going to bring an awareness. It's going to identify what this is so that you can act and or react in a different way from here on out. You can play a different game.
Yeah. You have a new response, a new reaction.
You have a new radical responsibility.
That's right.
To take on how you've been acting, because I think that is one of the main holy when I started doing shadow work is how I have allowed myself to behave.
That's right.
I allowed that behavior for that long.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Ill.
Again,
Ill.
there's that judgment piece, right?
And judging, but also, so mine was one of my big ones that I started learning about shadow work was when I was younger and, through like my 20s, I would be the boy that cried wolf. I would cancel plans all the time. I would make up reasons to cancel plans because my kink was canceling plans.
Meaning, okay, explain that.
In the sense of what I think it was is my kink was canceling plans and then waiting for them to want to reschedule because I knew they wanted me around. Because that abandonment thing started to shift and transform and metamorphosize.
A situation where you wanted that person to come after you.
1,000% chase me.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing.
Right? Okay, well, if you can't make it this time, can we do it next Friday? Because I really want to see you, or whatever. It was that outward validation piece. Because I think a lot of the times when we seek outward validation, that's also our shadow coming up to play. What do you need to be outwardly validated about? Because that is something that you feel inferior in.
Oh my gosh.
So I wanted to be wanted, which is also why I became like a cheerleader. I owned a fitness company for 10 years.
Okay.
I loved it. I was Coach Kitty. And I was everyone's cheerleader because no one wants to abandon the person that is rah-rahing the fuck out of them.
Wow.
And that was a character that I created. I know. It's been real. And I'm just literally throwing them out right here. This is the goal.
Okay, do it. Bring it. I'm here.
So I became the cheerleader because no one wants to say, get away from me, I don't want you around, when you're going, yeah, girl, you got this. You're
feeding them.
Right. I'm feeding them in order to also feel fed.
Yes.
And that was such a burnout loop that I created.
Because it's cheap. It's cheap dopamine.
Cheap dopamine, 1,000%. Right. But also back to the boy that cried wolf. That was the loop that I remember. I was, we were out to dinner and I was with my dad and my husband at the time. And I said, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make this happen. And my husband at the time was like, no, you're not, in front of everyone at the table. And I looked at him and I was like, who the fuck do you think you are to tell me I'm not going to do something in front of my family? But as we got in the car, I was like, why did you do that? And he's like, I was saving you from looking stupid. Because you always say you're going to do something and you never follow through with it.
And how did
you are the boy that cried wolf. Oh. And it was like someone poured that bucket of fuck it all over me and I froze. Yeah. In space and time, I froze.
Do you remember how you responded to that?
That's exactly what I did. I froze.
Oh.
Because I was like, oh my God, he's absolutely fucking right. And it was like the shadow, he shone light on a shadow that I had been acting and reacting from that loop, that jazz. For my entire life up until now. And it was like, I've been allowing myself to be this way and act this way and show up in the world this way. And I am disgusted with that piece. Yeah. Not because I don't love it, but I'm like, ugh. Like sometimes it brings this physically sick feeling up of how you've been allowing yourself to be.
Yes. That's another thing I wanted to say as part of an indicator of shadow work to know what you're working on. Your body is a huge clue.
1,000%.
Not just your brain.
Your body is almost the biggest clue.
So you might, for somebody who doesn't speak their truth, who maybe pushes things down because they don't want to hurt people or say things they don't want to hurt
Hello,
people.
human.
Hello, human. That might be a person who gets a sore throat a lot.
Of course.
Or somebody who pushes their emotions down, especially when it comes to joy. Like I had a lot of digestive problems because I would swallow my joy.
Sure.
Because I didn't want it to show, because I was scared that someone was going to judge me or I was going to be vulnerable in my joy. Someone would say, no, Melissa, you're too much. Because that's what happened to me when I was a kid. I would want to do all these fun, exciting things. And people would say, no, that's too much. So then I learned to swallow the extra into my stomach.
Swallow the joy.
And I ultimately ended up
and it turns into poison.
Yeah. Or I ended up getting upset stomach a lot.
Or like if you have IBS, if you have, heart palpitations, like your body, these pent up emotions, these shadows, that is another way to say like they are coming out in some way, shape or form. They have to come out somehow.
Yeah.
They have to show themselves somehow. And a lot of time it is in physical ailments.
And sometimes I think that I'm learning as part of my healing shadow work journey that I've been on for the past decade or so, I'm learning that you can only do so much work in your head. You can only do so much work in your talking. right? Sometimes you have to go and slam it out. Sometimes you need to go join a belly dancing class. Sometimes
Slam it out.
Some days you need to go to a skate or
Sometimes you need to join a circle.
Yes.
Or a practice or a community, a collective.
Yes. For example.
Or therapy or.
Yes. Like for example, and sometimes it can be very simple too. So like I remember one time we had to take our young daughter, our 3-year-old, in for a strep test. So they swab the back of the throat to check for strep. And so my husband brought my daughter into the doctor's office, and the nurses, and she was fighting them. She didn't want them to put, they were fighting. So the nurse then suggested that my husband hold her down.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now let me tell you, right away, my husband.
Oh, that just made me go.
Yeah, every female on the planet probably just freaked out.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, so in his desperation to get medication to help her, he had to restrain her, to help her get the swab. Okay,
I mean, I see the means to the end.
Right. So in his innocent desire to help our daughter not die of a strep moment, and become toxic, he had to do this, and that's what the nurse said. Now, she could have been held down by another nurse. She could have been not held down.
Because now there's a weird.
So I told my therapist about this, and my therapist said, and so they got the strep test. She was positive. We got medication for her. Yada yada yada. To this day, my 13-year-old daughter, will not succumb to a strep test anymore.
Oh wow!
But in order for her to heal the relationship with my husband, her dad, my therapist suggested play chase with Lily today, and let her get away. So to complete the cycle in her little 3-year-old brain, right? So that she can effectively escape from the situation.
Got you.
So even though she didn't get to win in that moment, in an effort to heal her brain from being secured for her own good, so to speak, my therapist said, play chase with her and let her win. Let her get away from you. Don't catch her.
Wow.
And did it help? Perhaps. But the reality was, after that,
it helped more than not doing it at all.
Correct.
I bet I would say.
And to this day, my husband also learned, and we learned as parents, I'm never going to pin my daughter down.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that anybody who pins their daughter down, because sometimes kids, like I remember as a kid, when I was a baby, when I was a little girl, I fought the dentist. I hated the dentist. I freaked out about the dentist. One time I bit the mirror.
Oh, ouch.
And this was back in the 80s, and there was glass in my mouth.
Ouch.
So I had to, of course, be restrained to get the glass out of my mouth so it wouldn't hurt me. So I understand, I'm not saying that holding down your daughter or holding down your children is a bad thing, because sometimes you have to for their own good or for their own safety.
Yes.
But then to complete the cycle is all
Got you. Okay.
Physically.
Understood.
So what I'm saying is that sometimes a simple ritual of that nature can help you work through the physical process. So it doesn't have to be a workout. It doesn't have to be rolfing. It doesn't have to be yoga. It can be something simpler, if that makes sense.
And I do think that shadow work in essence can be simple when you look at it from a space of, okay, what is the pain?
Yeah.
And what's on the other side of that pain?
Yes.
And how can I allow that inside part of me that is feeling this pain, this shame, this disowned, repressed vibration, how can I help them hold their hand, bring them into it, and work through that into the physical world?
Yeah.
Like you said, making sure that the cycle finishes itself in some way, shape, or form, because that synapse that we were talking about, that trigger, that trauma, that circuit is broken.
Yes.
How can you repair the circuit in a way that feels good to your practice, in a way that you get to do?
Yes. And like one of the things, I just recently went to a sound healer, and a few years ago, I want to say maybe about 10 years ago, I became aware of a situation that happened to me when I was a child. I was 8 years old, and there was a sexual trespass on me when I was 8, okay? There were multiple people involved. So that was something that my brain had protected me from, and I didn't even recall it until I was in my 40s.
Sure.
Okay, because my brain locked
You
me
are
down.
not alone, girl.
And protected, the Me Too movement, right?
Of course.
So I remember there being a sexual trespass, and so I processed through all in the ways. I went through EMDR, I went through therapy, I went through all things. For 10 to 15 years, I processed through this in my head.
Okay.
Recently, I went to a sound healer, and she says you have a block in your sacral chakra. That's the creation station.
Yes, I know exactly what that is.
So
your womb space.
So I remember saying, okay, what's happening there? And she said, well, it looks like there was a trespass when you were around 8. She literally called it. I didn't tell her, she called it.
Energy work is so legit.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I was like,
Change my mind.
Can I just be done with this? Like, I want to be done with
God,
this.
just damn that?
I'm like, I've worked through this. I'm not even mad. I've forgiven
Right,
everybody.
right.
I've forgiven myself. I've forgiven people.
Why is this coming up again?
I forgave the ceiling fan. I forgot.
I love lamp.
I love lamp. I love
Right.
lamp. But I forgave everything. So why do we have to keep going this? And she said, yes, but your body remembers.
Your body remembers.
And your body has to process.
And your body
let
keeps the
this
score.
go.
Have you ever
Yeah.
read that book before?
No, and I'm gonna-
OMFG, baby.
I can't tell you
Your
how many
body
people.
keeps the score.
How many people have suggested this book to me? And every time I'm like, I can't remember the name of the title.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, thank you, ego. This is what I say to my
Thank
ego.
you, ego. That's exactly right.
This is what I say. I'm gratitude. Thank you, ego. It's going to be okay, though. I got it from here.
I got it. Yeah.
So now I have forgotten the
Give
title
yourself
of that book
permission.
for so long because I had so much internal body,
Sure.
like I had body work to do to help me heal through those traumas, and my brain would not let me remember because
Your ego will not
clamped
let
down and put that in a shadow. We threw that in the closet with the
Yeah.
So now
I'm coming out.
I have a pen and paper in front of me right now. I ain't forgetting shit.
I ain't forgetting this shit.
I'm putting it on my Audible list today.
Because it's almost like when you take that step forward and you take the spotlight and you shine it on the shadow.
Yeah.
It is you saying to your ego, I got this, and I'm giving you, ego, permission to let me provide a safe space for what this is now in my life.
Yep.
I'm going to take this off of your plate and I'm going to put it on mine and I'm going to eat it and I'm going to leave no crumbs.
That's right. Because another thing I teach my daughters who struggle with anxiety is, and I even had one of my daughters, this is a great thing to do with your kids, by the way, if they struggle with anxiety and things like that, because a lot of kids do, is to draw pictures about it.
Sure.
Or sing a song about it or something like this. My daughter loves to draw. So she drew a poster of this. And I said, imagine yourself, you're in a car and you're going someplace, okay? And your anxiety is going to come along with you. Okay, you can't leave anxiety out of the car because anxiety is a part of you. Okay, so so we can let anxiety in the car. They can sit in the passenger seat. They can control they can play windows, right?
Yeah.
They can choose the music. That's fine. They cannot drive.
Sure.
Anxiety is not allowed to drive. So she drew a picture of herself in the driver's seat and her anxiety in the back seat.
Anxiety does not have a permit to drive my vehicle.
No. So anxiety doesn't get to drive. So if you find yourself avoiding people, for example, because people make you anxious, ask yourself, how long are we going to avoid people?
Right.
Because anxiety is driving the bus.
Right. No, I love that because you literally segued. You didn't know this, but you segued into the final portion of how do you integrate and work along with the side of you that you have allowed to stay in the dark for so long. Yeah. And with what you just said is you are engaging this part of yourself. You are entertaining this part of yourself. You are accepting and conversing and connecting and confronting and transmuting this character. Make it into a character, right? Give it a persona. Give it an image so that you can speak to it. And in essence, you're speaking to yourself. You are giving compassion and understanding and acceptance and space, grace, space to yourself.
Yeah.
And that is what starts to
shift.
And that is where the waters of change begin to really start churning. And that is where the cycle starts to move and the snowball starts to fly down the hill and gain momentum. And then you get to, it's always this beginner mindset of I get to do this. Bringing it to a space of like excitement and
yes. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you said this.
And
gamification.
This reprogram this recalibration is a game that you get to play. Yes. And this practice allows a relationship to begin to flourish, of communication, of oneness.
Yes.
Like, I love you, I see you, I acknowledge you.
We're going to listen to Queen for a whole year.
Whatever you want, boo.
Yeah. If you have a hard time,
because I'm here for you. I took you from the ego, and now I'm the one creating the safe space for your ass.
If you're like, my parents never took me anywhere, I never got to go on a trip,
then go somewhere.
Take yourself to fucking Disney World and put on the goddamn Mickey ears. And,
oh boy!
And
yeah, exactly. See?
And embody your 5-year-old self at Disney World. Buy that bitch a balloon. Get her some cotton candy. Let her put on the Mickey ears. Let her hug Donald Duck. Yeah. Because that's what she needs. And that is so fun. And they're going to look at a 48-year-old woman out there sobbing, hugging a mascot character.
Whatever it does.
doesn't
However, immerse yourself in the healing aspect of what it would be like to show up for a piece of yourself that has been disowned.
Yes. And sometimes, it's a mixed bag, yin and yang, right? So
of course, always.
So you pick up that 7-year-old girl who got hit by the car, and you hold her, and you love her. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I
you got
did.
hurt,
Oh,
baby.
she's with me all the time now.
I'm so sorry you got hurt. That wasn't fair. Somebody should have kept an eye on you. And you let her cry and cry and cry till all her tears are dried up. And you're like, come on, sweetie, we're gonna go, get you a new bike.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Whatever that little girl needed in that moment, you can give that to them in a fun, beautiful way. And you get to play, and you get to discover.
Yes,
and you get to
because the aspect
it.
of play, and I think that's what I kind of want to end on, is the aspect of play really does move things forward in such a fast rate. Yes. Much faster. Like, yes, we're feeling the pain.
Yes.
And the pain has to be brought to the surface. Yes. Like, we are shining the light on what is the pain even stemming from. Yeah. What in our past or what in our psyche is the pain coming from, and then working through that pain, so to speak, by playing, pulling your inner child or your angsty teenager or, like I said, the piece of yourself from that trigger chisel, and re-chiseling or remolding, reparenting, realigning, recalibrating, reprogramming what it means now, how you get to act now when that pain trigger comes up, because it's always going to come up.
Yep.
I'm going to say this a million bajillion times. It is never going to go away.
And that's okay.
You just have a new game to play.
And you get to be friends with it now.
Absolutely.
Instead of running, scary, abandonment,
Real Monsters.
Yeah.
Do you remember that show on Nickelodeon at all?
No,
or were you? Okay, anyway. It was like the Monsters, and then of course Monsters Inc., like the monsters in your closet. If you think about Monsters Inc., they got so much energy from screams, but they got even more energy from the laughs. Right, and think of all the energy that you now get to utilize from suppressing that scream and turning it into a laugh.
Yes.
And you get to do that, you motherfucking rad-ass human.
Yes.
You get to.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I say you have to kind of walk through the fire, but on the other side of it, there's like a bomb-ass playground that you get to play. Because now, that's how, it shouldn't be, because like right now, before you deal with your shadows, you are chained.
Absolutely. That's the devil card.
Yep. You are chained. You are bound. Okay? When you are not dealing with your shadows and you keep putting them in the closet.
No strings attached. I just think of NSYNC.
She just did the NSYNC.
I did too. I did the marionette.
But you are bound. You are chained. Chained.
Get it, girl.
Okay. So you're chained. You're bound. And when you walk through the fire on the other side, or if you're the phoenix, you allow yourself to burn. You come up. You are a motherfucking gorgeous rainbow bird that gets to now fly, because before you were, you know what I'm saying? You have to have the ash. What was it? My husband said. He said a phoenix is like without the fire, without the ashes, without the burning. A phoenix is just a bird getting up.
Mike's not wrong. Not wrong.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes.
It's just a bird getting up.
Thank you for that very logical way of looking at it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want the fire.
Yes.
You want the burn.
Because you want to
And this is what I'm saying too about the release and rebirth cycle, right? What piece of you doesn't deserve to die, because we're not dying.
No.
What piece of you
needs to be
deserves to be seen and brought up into the light. Yeah. Shine the light. So therefore, you can integrate that piece into your now personality and embrace it, rather than let it run you from the jazz.
Yeah.
Right?
Let it drive in the car.
Let it drive the car. But let it be a passenger, like beep beep.
Girl.
Jump in, girl. Jump in, loser. We're going shopping. Like where in our lives can we begin this process? Because it is painful, and it is also you being positive on purpose and finding silver linings and moving through it in a way that allows play and allows genuine, intentional change. That is magic.
I think one of the things I saw someone sent me a meme or a TikTok or something of this. It was a person speaking about how you feel when you're in that moment, when you finally realize what you're doing and you're like, oh, I'm so triggered by this thing. And you've got this seeming mountain ahead of you of what to work on. And I think this is where a lot of people stop. It's literally going, oh shit, I have some shadow about that, right?
Right.
So the very first thing I think for you to recognize is that you are not a loser. You're just losing. Oh. So you're not a loser.
Okay.
You're just losing right now.
Oh.
So when you recognize, because I think a lot of people go, well, what a bad person I am for having this shadow, or what a bad person I am for judging other people, for avoiding people, for whatever your shadow, whatever the body is manifesting, whatever your mind is manifesting as the coping strategy of dealing with that shadow.
Sure.
I'm such a bad person. Like I hear my teenage daughters all the time. I can't believe I fucked up again. Well, they don't say fucked up, but I can't believe I messed up again. I'm such a bad person. Oh. No.
Sure.
You're not a bad person. You're going through a bad time.
Sure. It doesn't define you.
No.
Right.
And I think the more that we can acknowledge that we are valuable people who are just going through a rough patch.
Sure.
You're not a loser. You're just losing right now.
And to bring it even further, you're not a loser. You're just losing. Mm-hmm. But also to bring it up even one step further, deeper, if you will, is what limiting belief are you ready to lose in order to then gain and win?
Yep, and that's step 2. That's going, you're not a loser, okay, we're here, so we're standing here in our sovereignty.
I'm just in a losing loop, or what feels like a depressed, like a repressive, suppressive loop.
What is the tool then that will bring me out of that loop so that I can gain some kind of victory here?
Understanding, compassion, acceptance.
Yeah.
And I think the number one thing that I love about shadow work, to put it super simply, is that when you begin to work with and alongside your shadow as a piece of you, you no longer act from impulse. Yes. You act from intention.
That's right.
And that is where the change comes. That is where you can see the change in real time. Yep. So I know we're getting a little bit long. I'd like to wrap it up. There are so many other things that we can talk about when it comes to shadow. But what I do want to say is we are going to be sharding. We're going to be sharding a shadow workshop.
I do not want to start a sharding group. I'll be honest.
My gosh. We're going to be
talking about embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. That is the rejection that I do not want. We do not want to go into that story. You know exactly which Panamanian cow pie story I'm talking about. Maybe I'll get into that one in our shadow group and let people know the most embarrassing moment of my entire life.
Okay, she told it to me, you guys, and I will admit it's definitely one for the books.
So it is a booker. Yeah, 1,000%.
I have 100 like that too.
But yes, we get to in a collective, in a circle, in a space that is safe, with grace and ease, work on what shadows are arising for us. Yeah. So be on the lookout, ladies and gentlemen. Go sign up for it on magicismessy.com. We're bringing it off of social media and into a very intentional space to work along with one another as reflection, as a mirror image, because reflection equals new direction.
We can call it like BYO shadow.
Bring your own shadow. BYO
it's gonna be
shadow.
A shadow work potluck.
Whatever you want to call it. That's very Midwestern of you, by the way. Well, yeah. I'm going to bring the hot dish.
I'm going to bring my obsession and my daddy issues.
There you go. Hey, oh girl, don't even talk to me about daddy issues. Oh man, that is shadow I'm dealing. Whoa. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, sisters and misters, we can go on and on and on about shadow work and how amazing it is for you. Yet, if you want to jump in a way that is, like I said, safe and not easy, it's not going to be easy, but it can be enjoyable, it can be entertaining, it can be playful, and it can be something that you look forward to because you get to do it. Go sign up for our new social media free community on magicismessy.com.
Yay.
Dig it?
I love it. Dig it.
Awesome.
I love to dig it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and misters, we will see you very, very soon for the next moon. But until then, we are going to seal our intention with some super rad nail jazz. Ready? Have an awesome shadow work season. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yes.
This is Ace.
This is Kitty.
I am Kitty. You are all awesome for sharing the airwaves with us, and we will see you very, very soon. Thank you.